Welcome to this information event for new parents. My name is Rob Temple and I'm the Principal of Barton Peveril College. Jan Frost, our Vice Principal for Students, will also be taking part in this presentation. We want to highlight some of the changes for students as they move from school to college, explain how we plan to involve you whilst they're with us, and suggest some ways in which you might be able to help your son and daughter so that they will thrive and make a success of their time at college. Barton Peveril enjoys a fantastic reputation and, in a region where there are lots of colleges to choose from, we are the most popular. In fact, in terms of the number of 16 to 18-year-olds, we are the most popular sixth form college in the country. So why are students choosing Barton Peveril? Well, Ofsted graded us as outstanding in all four key judgments. And we are known as an ambitious college with high aspirations for students and ourselves. We welcome the relationship with you, our parents. Your feedback ensures we are never complacent, but more importantly, we believe in a three-way relationship between students, their parents and the college. Secondly, our results are excellent. Government data for the most recent set of results places Barton Peveril as the best performing college in Hampshire for level 3 courses, which means A-level or equivalent, and our value added is outstanding. In fact, you'd have to travel 50 miles to find a college that could match it. Our destinations data, which measures what students do after they leave the college, is also excellent. Around 80% go to university, with others securing places at highly competitive apprenticeships and employment. And this links to the third point, which is our long-established reputation for looking after our students and their individual needs. We were the first college to win the National Sixth Form College Association Award for our support for students. The fact is we like our students and we're interested in them and they know it. Lastly, we believe in developing the whole student and providing an education that prepares young people for life beyond college. If you work hard here, you will enjoy excellent results and we will ensure you are enabled to achieve that. But we also recognise that good results are no substitute for good values. We believe in a balanced education where students have opportunities to develop themselves beyond the traditional and examined curriculum. And that's why we have an extensive enrichment programme that we call Q Extra, that provides a huge number of options for you to enjoy and benefit from. So how will life be different from school? We have developed a strategy to help our students work even more independently. This does not mean you are abandoned or deprived of support, but we will often require you to complete work before you reach the classroom that will inform the lesson. This will usually be posted on Google Classroom, and it could be some reading, researching, or perhaps learning a new concept. As a result of this approach, students are more engaged in their lessons, and there is more time that can be devoted to the teacher checking their understanding. It's important that we prepare students for a world beyond college, where they won't have a teacher close by to help them. So sometimes our students will get stuck and have to use the resources at their disposal, their knowledge and creativity, their understanding, their peers, to find a potential solution to the problem. This is deliberate, and being stuck is an invaluable moment. It's part of the journey where they move away from saying, I don't get it, and giving up, and instead develop a willingness to grapple with a problem and extend themselves beyond the comfort zone. This is all part of building true resilience in young people and helping them prepare for the future. We have a very strong belief that our students are capable of more than perhaps they dare to believe themselves. And so we encourage our students to recognise that it is those who are willing to apply themselves and consistently make the effort who enjoy the best outcomes and fulfil their potential. How can parents help? We will keep you informed, so please read the newsletters and visit the Parents landing page. Help them make college their priority. College only lasts 2 years, but it can have a huge impact on the rest of their lives. Attendance is vital to their success, so please don't book holidays during term time. Also, don't allow a part-time job to dominate their time at the expense of their studies. There is good research that suggests 8 hours of part-time work is manageable alongside their studies, but every hour over 8 hours leads to deterioration in results. So it would appear that 1 full day or 2 evenings a week is about the right amount of part-time work a student should be taking on. You can help them develop their resilience. You might hear them say that, I really don't like that subject, I want to give it up, or that their teacher isn't helping them enough. Usually this reflects that the course is proving a bit difficult. The solution is usually that they may need to commit more time to the subject and do a bit more work. So please don't immediately go along with the idea. Instead, ask how they might be able to solve the problem themselves. Feel free to get in contact to discuss the matter, or suggest they talk to a teacher or their tutor, so that we might come up with a plan together to help them overcome the issue. Just to finish, be wary of the following statements I've often heard as a teacher and as a parent. 1. I don't have any work to do. Timetabled lessons make up 50% of their study time. So by that I mean that we would expect for every hour they spend working in a lesson, they should plan for another hour working outside of it. Even if they have done the pre-work and their homework, there will always be learning that needs to be consolidated. It is through the process of regularly revisiting and reviewing previous work that enables the learning to be committed to a student's long-term memory and dramatically improves their performance in assessments. 2. They might say, "It's up to me now, I'm at college." Well, that's usually the moment to pull them in closer. Now, of course, it's important they develop their own independence, and we expect students to accept responsibility for their own learning. But I think students ultimately really appreciate your interest in their progress. They may not thank you in the moment, but they do value the support of their parents. So please continue asking questions about their day and their lessons. You might be able to help them reflect upon their future plans. Visit a university with them. You might be able to utilise your own contacts to help them secure some work experience that helps them consider the kind of career they might want to explore. Our experience consistently tells us that when parents take an active interest in their child's studies, their child does better. Again, it's that triangular relationship between students, parents and the college that ensures that the student's experience at college is a happy and successful one. Thank you.
Welcome to Barton Peveril College. My name's Jan Frost and I'm the Vice Principal for Students and Progress. Here at Barton Peveril, we want to empower students so that they can cope with all kinds of challenges, increase their resilience and better understand themselves as learners. We set high standards because they matter, and we encourage all students to have high expectations of themselves. We want them to develop a work ethic which will lead to huge success in their studies and foster incredible skills for the exciting global economy they should aspire to be part of. All of this starts with the care and guidance we offer each individual. In terms of parent communications, we'll communicate with you on a number of different platforms. We use School Cloud for online parents' evenings, which provide opportunities for the all-important dialogue with teachers. And we produce timely newsletters to keep you up to date with key events and news. You'll also be able to access the My Barton Parents website. This will become your go-to site for help and guidance and information about such things as careers and well-being and about your child's progress. So in terms of progress, we indicate that in a number of different ways at Barton Peveril. Get ready for some acronyms. Firstly, there is the Common Assessment Point, or CAP. There are 4 of these over the course of the 2 years. Common assessments are internal assessments sat in exam conditions and graded to A-level or Level 3 standard. Secondly, there is the Teacher Target Grade, or TTG. This is the grade your teacher currently expects students to achieve at the end of the course, taking into account the latest CAP grade, subject assignments, other independent work, commitment, work in lessons, class tests, and all kinds of other things. And finally, there is the commitment grade. We let you know your child's commitment to their studies using 1 star, 1, 2, and 3. Part of achieving brilliantly at A-level and Level 3 vocational courses is the ability to stay focused, complete work, and fully engage in every lesson. These 3 grades will provide the data needed for you to understand your child's progress. Connected to this, of course, is attendance, and the website will help you to monitor this too. So moving into other aspects of support. Tutoring. Your child's tutor will be your first point of contact. For the huge majority of students, this will be one of their subject teachers, which means the contact with the tutor will be for at least 4 days a week, and where possible, the tutor will be the same person for the whole 2 years at Barton Peveril. The tutor, like you, will use the same data to check on progress and will liaise with teachers on your child's behalf. Significantly, the tutor will write your child's academic reference, which will be used for university and job applications. Student progress advisors. So these are rather like a head of year. They are expert mediators, motivators, and troubleshooters, and promote building learning power to help students manage the ups and downs of academic study. They work closely with the careers team to offer outstanding advice on employment, work experience, and access to the most competitive universities. Students can book online appointments whenever they want and as many times as they want, and where possible, I would encourage you to attend too. Pathways to careers and study change quickly, and it's valuable to have an open dialogue with those in the know. The Health and Wellbeing team is incredibly proactive when it comes to promoting physical and mental well-being, but we're also aware that students need support as they develop study skills, increase resilience, and aim high. In liaison with the tutor programme, we will be doing all we can to make sure our new first-year students are confident learners. We are also extremely lucky to have incredible learning support. Hopefully you will have been in touch with learning support already, but if not, there's still time to contact the college about your child's learning needs. We are really proud of all members of the pastoral team who were given a national award for our support for students during the COVID lockdowns. This, coupled with the fact that Ofsted recognised that we're an outstanding provider with a culture of zero tolerance towards bullying or harassment in any form, shows that we care deeply about the welfare of all of our students. We can also offer financial support at the college. Applications for the Student Support Fund can be found on the college website. This is designed to help families with the cost of college, and the application form itself has more detailed information on eligibility. For more information about transport, please follow the link on our website to Blue Star, where you can find out more about routes and journeys. So, what happens next in the admissions process? There are some important dates for your diaries. Enrolment days. Students will be sent an appointment time, and we recommend you attend with them. You might think of questions to ask that they haven't, and it's always good to hear the advice your child has been given so you understand the background behind it. There are two schools of thought here. We want your child to be happy, and we want you to be knowledgeable. Please make sure you check the prospectus for individual entry requirements, as GCSE results can affect the final programme of study. And then first year students will begin their studies at Barton Peveril on Monday the 11th of September. That week will be just for first years to help them settle into college life, and we really look forward to seeing them busy and purposeful on this, the next step of their academic journey. Please take the time to read our new parents booklet. It will give you not only practical information, but also clearly outline our expectations and the Barton Peveril culture. So, thank you for choosing Barton Peveril College. We are an outstanding college with excellent support provision, and we will take very good care of your child.
Good one. There are some superficial differences. So, for example, there's no school uniform. You call your teachers by their first name, although you may still call me sir. So you call your teacher by their first name. We ask you students to wear a lanyard. That's the only kind of piece of uniform we kind of request, and that's really so we can identify them and make sure the site is secure. But more, I guess, more meaningful is that at school your time is directed by the bell. So between 9 o'clock and 3:30, your time is directed. The bell tells you when to move and to go to each lesson. At college there is no bell, and you will manage your own time. There's a far greater emphasis on independence. So you'll have lessons in the day where you don't have a directed subject lesson, but you will have study periods, and you'll have facilities like this to come in and study in. Or you may choose to go home if your day's over. But so it's really that managed step from being a pupil at a school to being someone who's ready for university or employment.
Lovely, thank you. Jan, have you got anything to add to that? Or
No, really, just to say that your time, obviously you're only choosing 3 subjects generally, so you're much more streamlined in terms of your curriculum. You get to do the things that you really love, and you have to manage your time much more effectively.
I mean, students would say, having spoken to them, that although at college they take fewer subjects, there's more work. So for every hour you do at college, you expect an hour of independent study that you'll do at home or in the college.
Lovely,
Okay.
thank you. And I agree, I think they really do feel from year 11, they just grow up, don't they? Because it feels like such a lovely transition to what they're going to do afterwards.
Yeah.
And I think they really feel like they feel so much older when they get here and they're more independent.
Well, yeah, and they feel like they own the journey because they've chosen the subjects. There's more work, but it's work they enjoy and they're invested in.
Lovely, thank you. Jan, I'd say this is probably one for you. Does Barton Peveril have a good student support system?
We have an outstanding student support system.
She used the O word straight away.
Yeah, I was wondering how long it would be.
Well, it has been confirmed by external people, so you'll know from our Ofsted report that our student support is outstanding. So that begins with support in the classroom. Of course, we've got support in terms of learning support. We also have student progress advisors, and they function rather like a head of year. And so they're responsible for overseeing the progress of individual students, so they'll monitor their attendance, their grades, any disciplinary matters, and then we'll also have our support in terms of emotional wellbeing support. So we've got a counselling team, we've got 2 emotional literacy support assistants, we've got tutors as well, nurses, two physical nurses. So yeah, really comprehensive support, and of course that the linchpin of that is the tutor. So the tutor is there with that kind of weekly contact with the individual student as well, providing pastoral care.
I think as well, you have the same student for most, the same teacher for most of your lessons, and therefore you end up getting such a great relationship with students generally in your lessons, and they feel like a really good support because you see them for that 4.5 hours a week.
Yeah, most students will have the tutor being one of their subject teachers. Yeah,
absolutely.
That's really helpful.
Thank you. So this is probably for you, Rob. What are the maximum students in each class?
Well, at the start of the year, the classes can be bigger, so 25, sometimes 26, but they would generally come down as the year progresses. I mean, the average class size at Barton is 23, but some classes will be 17, some will be 25, but they usually settle at most around 23.
My feeling as well with the large classes, I mean, we still get the outstanding results with those large classes, but actually using mini whiteboards and give it a real buzz about it because there's enough students to really get those discussions going.
And the classrooms, we wouldn't put 25 in a room made for 18. They're big rooms.
Yeah.
So there's lots of small group work going on in those lessons. And you say the teacher knows how to manage those students. And in fact, students will say actually it feels smaller than in school.
Absolutely, I think so. Thank you. Are the resources available before enrolment to help students decide what they want to study?
Yes, so hopefully by now students have looked at the Google Classroom we set up for every subject. So all the applicants have access to a Google Classroom, and that's been updated by the subjects. So that on there there'll be activities, there'll be reading lists, there'll be videos, TED Talks, all that kind of stuff to kind of firstly kind of stir some interest in their subject and some curiosity, but also to prepare them for the work that's coming their way from September.
Lovely, thank you. Jan, do you want to add a bit about enrolment there, or?
Yes, so they'll have an opportunity at enrolment to discuss kind of how to prepare for their courses, and quite often they'll be enrolled by someone who might be a teacher in one of their areas as well. We have directors available who also can give you some advice on how to prep beforehand, so lots of opportunities to get a head start really.
I know I've had a couple of enrolments where you have them for a really long time. You'll be the student just because you want to make sure that you're getting the right subject and they're really prepared for what they want to do. And it's really lovely when you get the right subjects for the right students.
Yeah, and we will, enrolment, I would encourage parents to attend enrolment. Firstly, because I think it's really important you hear the conversation we're having, so you know what we've said. But also, it's started that kind of three-way relationship between the parent, the college and the student.
Absolutely, thank you. So probably this one for Jan. What do we need to do for our child who has SEN or a disability?
Okay, so if you haven't already disclosed that, so you have an opportunity to do that as part of the application process. When you have your admissions interview, you can discuss that. If you haven't already discussed that, then it's really important to get in touch with us. We've got a learning support department. We'll start with our learning support director, and of course we can start to put something in place in terms of their programme before they even begin, so we can meet them at enrolment and talk through what the support possibilities are. So lots of students have support of all kinds, right from students, we've got a huge number of students who have access arrangements, and of course that's coordinated through our learning support department, but there are other students who actually just want some support with study skills, essay writing, and they can sign up for study skills lessons, right up to students who've got a full EHCP, and therefore they will of course will have already had those transition meetings and lots of preparation.
Wonderful, thank you. I mean, the students that have anything to do with learning support seem to do absolutely brilliantly here, and it's really lovely how wonderful and how they feel so supported and nurtured here.
I will just drop in, yes, that students with a declared learning support need, in terms of their value added data, so that the progress they make compared to what would be expected, that places them in the top 10% of the country. And the destinations they go on to are just wonderful, very aspirational. Most go to university, but they really do receive a bespoke kind of supportive service.
Lovely, thank you. In terms of this, another enrolment question, do they confirm their Q extras on those days?
They do, so they should have had an opportunity already to look at our Q Extra offer. I think we had it in our previous video. What will appear when they enrol on their courses is which Q Extras are available around their main curriculum programme, and there is a huge range of opportunity. Some of those start straight away, some of them are short courses, some of them run right across the year, in fact across 2 years. So if you sign up for a sports team, for example, you could be doing that for 2 years. I did say I would promote our Duke of Edinburgh Award. So the teacher for Duke of Edinburgh was very keen to recruit students who maybe have previously completed their bronze award, or maybe they're new to it, but we work up to gold here, and it's a fantastic, enriching experience for students, and brilliant actually for their wider super curriculum learning, and for their university applications.
Yeah, absolutely, lovely, thank you so much. I'd agree. I think it really gives them resilience, something like the Duke of Edinburgh, doesn't it? And I also think that it gives them a bit more outside of their academic work. They are working quite hard independently, and how lovely to be able to do a sports team or something you're really interested in.
Great, physical activity is great for well-being, and then you've got volunteering, so yeah, definitely something to give back and benefit from.
And also, it'll make their time at college more enjoyable. They'll make new friends, they'll develop new skills, but also it's what the most competitive universities and career and people pointing for jobs is looking for. They'll know you do well in your subjects. What else do you bring? And if you come to a college like Barton, you'll have lots of opportunities to develop yourself well beyond the syllabus.
Lovely, thank you so much. Rob, do students require their own personal laptops here?
No. They are absolutely welcome to bring their own devices into college. We have broadband all over the college. But that's, if you're worried about investing in that's not necessary. We have class sets of Chromebooks here. Students often use their phone if that's relevant for the lesson. But no, so absolutely, some students do bring in their own device, and that's fine, and they use that throughout the college, but that's not a requirement.
Lovely, thank you. I think we use Google Classroom, don't we, to set all of most of the homework and independent work, and therefore most of them will just access that on their phones. I think it's really easy with the app to do that.
And I think most students are now familiar with that from school as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Do parents need to pay for resources for students when they come here?
It will depend on the subject. Generally, we try and meet the resource needs as part of enrolling in the subject, and there is no cost for that. If you're joining a sports team, there's often a cost associated with that to do with kit. If you're doing something like art, there may be additional materials depending on what your particular discipline. So if you're doing fine art and you choose to do oils, there'll be some cost there. But generally, no. But individuals may find they have certain costs that come associated with what they're exploring in their subject.
It's probably worth noting that we've got an excellent college shop on site as well, where we sell things at cost price, and we buy them in bulk, so we get a really good deal for them.
I like going in and getting stationery from there.
I mean, there is print credit. Students wish to print things off. There is a cost associated with that. Again, we do that at cost, so it's relatively cheap. But again, where possible, we encourage students not to print things off. And where there are booklets, we print them off in advance, and there's no fee associated with that.
I say a lot of subjects have booklets, don't they, that they have for the whole thing, so there's not lots of paper or
Yeah.
photocopying needed. Thank you so much. So this one is about Oxbridge support. So what do we do as a college to support those who would like to go to Oxbridge or those top universities?
I mean, that's absolutely key for us. So you've probably heard of our Aspire programme. So students who achieve an average GCSE score of 7.5 and above will go into a programme for kind of students who are really aiming for the most competitive universities, so Oxbridge, Durham, Exeter and so on. So we have a full programme for them right from the beginning of the year. Each one of them would also be assigned a mentor. So we have volunteer mentors who work with individuals to help prepare them both in terms of their application but also in terms of their interview skills, and that's been really successful.
I'm just looking at the question, sorry, I slightly misread it. Can I sign my child up for Oxbridge support? So I suppose if they haven't quite got that 7.5, is there ways that they can still be supported?
Yeah, absolutely. If a student is really keen to do that, then of course we would put the support in place for them. So that's something we can certainly look at on an individual case-by-case basis.
I mean, the average GCSE grade is a useful indicator because obviously we get to know students quite quickly, but when they arrive in September, we don't quite know them yet. What you find over those first 6 months, teachers will start recommending students as potential Oxbridge candidates as well. So it's not all on the GCSEs. Obviously, you need to have performed at a certain level to kind of make yourself a viable contender, but it's not all about the average.
And I think we were saying earlier, weren't we, the students come here and they do feel more grown up, and
Yeah.
some of them really reinvent themselves, so maybe their GCSEs weren't brilliant, but I think in lessons when they've got their teachers for so many hours a week, they will be pushed and challenged and actually really be kind of supported in that way if they haven't got those GCSEs. Thank you so much. So this is asking about tutor programme, and it kind of goes on from that secondary school question earlier. Do they see their tutor in the mornings, and what's the experience in terms of tutor?
Thank you. Yeah, so it's a little bit different from school. So you would see your tutor during one session a week. They might also be your teacher, as we've talked before, so you might see them for 3 other periods a week. But for that one dedicated tutorial session, they'll have an opportunity to, first of all, cover some personal, social, health, education matters. So we're really keen to prepare our students for the world outside. Of course, fundamental British values is a really big part of that education. They'll have an opportunity to kind of work with students on a pastoral level. In fact, next year we've got a big project where we'll do lots of team building within tutor groups as well. They'll also have an opportunity for one-to-ones with their tutor every week, so that's another kind of key requirement for a tutor, to give that individualised care and attention to every student.
Yeah, I mean, every lesson at college is 90 minutes long. So for your subjects, you'll usually have 3 lessons a week, so that'll be 4.5 hours a week, and tutor is always 90 minutes a week in there. And there's also there'll be some independent work associated with tutor that will also be kind of built into your timetable.
And you actually, each time you go to a lesson, you'll be registered within that lesson, won't you? So actually you don't need to have that tutor in the morning to sort of register in it and deal with issues. That will happen throughout, so you can really focus on the students in those tutor groups.
And one other thing to say about tutor is it's very much focused on progression. So right from the beginning, we're getting students to think about where they want to be when they finish. Those 2 years are going to pass so quickly, and it's so key that they have that kind of motivating kind of target to work towards. So we're talking about university, apprenticeships, work-related skills right from day one.
Lovely.
And not all students will know what they want to do. We also recognise that. But we will keep. It's a good question to ask. What's the plan? Some students from the age of 4 know they want to be a doctor, but most don't know what they want to do. So our job is to make sure we support you in making that decision and then being able to access, your aspirational future.
And the number of people in tutor groups, is that the same as in lessons, or is it a different amount?
It's about the same. I had a first year and a second year tutor group this year, and my second year tutor group was a bit smaller, about 21.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So this is about transport. Is there dedicated college buses, or do students expected to get public transport?
Yeah, we have a whole host of buses running right around the kind of region through Blue Star. So hopefully your child, if they're going to be travelling on a bus, has had that opportunity to have that experience over the last 3 days where we've been running our taster sessions. And you can arrange to buy a bus pass right from the point of enrolment. So once you're placed, you've come in, you've had your enrolment interview, your place is secured, we would then kind of encourage you to organise your bus pass at that stage.
Lovely.
Yeah, we don't run the bus service. We liaise very closely with Blue Star, who do. So when you buy your bus ticket, you'll go there's a link on our transport page on the website, but you'll buy the ticket from Blue Star and they run the service. And then we deal with them if there are issues, but we don't run the service ourselves.
I mean, I suspect some students get public transport, do they? Or generally there's buses that go from
the majority get buses. I mean, some get the train in because there's usually a train station down the road. The college buses will come at the beginning and the end of the day, sometimes in the middle of the day, but they'll find their bus pass will enable them to access other public buses as well. So it depends on their route.
And of course we've got covered cycle containers as well, so
of course,
to encourage that too.
Lovely. Yeah. Thank you. So this is a nice question about that sort of exercise we were talking about earlier. So those that have chosen not to do sport, is there gym facilities for them and any other sort of exercise they can do?
Yeah, we have a college gym, which is again free. Access is not necessarily straightforward in the day because often classes are running in the gym. But before college and after college, the gym's available certainly for students to use. And generally, there will be moments in the day when you can get in there. But it'll have a timetable that will be advertised to students when it's available for public use. So yeah, we have the gym, but also as part of Q Extra, you could decide you want to do Pilates or yoga or meditation or trampolining or box exercise. There's a whole range of things you can do and have in your timetable, as well as using the gym in your free time after college.
And we also,
some new sports teams as well starting next year. So I think for the first time we're going to have a first 15 female rugby team.
Excellent,
good.
And an all-female cricket team.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic. And actually, I think the sports teams here do extremely well, don't they?
The cricket team won the county T20 yesterday.
Wow.
They got to the national finals last week. They went up to Derby. They didn't win that, but they lost. They got to the last two. We're the only college with two teams in the first division for football. If I go on, I'll miss a team out, but they do very well.
Fantastic.
And you'll find there's a team for your level. So there are 7 football teams, for example. So you may not get in the first team, but there will be a team for you.
Okay, thank you. Lovely. So this question, do you have a strong D&I policy, and are the students involved in this as a compulsory session at any point?
I presume they're referring to diversity and inclusion.
So EDI week,
Yeah.
that's what threw me for a second.
Yeah, we have a really strong EDI policy, and it absolutely permeates everything we do. So from the point of application, enrolment, looking at results, supporting individual students, that we monitor that in terms of our student diversity, and we encourage diversity and inclusion, and we promote that both through lessons, through our tutor activities. We have student committees, so we've got Pride Committee, we've got an Afro-Caribbean Committee, we've got a Neurodiversity Committee, Feminist Society.
You're going to miss one out now.
I know.
Yeah.
Sorry if I've forgotten someone. And we run various events across the calendar of the year to kind of ensure that the interests of all students are really explored and celebrated.
It really does feel, there is a real feeling here that students are really proud of who they are as individuals, and that is really celebrated. I see that all around, that students are confident and happy here.
Yeah, and it's a progressive place, it's a supportive place, it's a very tolerant place, and we support that and we model that through our teaching and our tutoring.
Lovely, thank you so much. Can you outline what security measures there are at the college to keep students safe?
Yeah, so the first thing is every student has a lanyard. That lanyard, you need a lanyard to get through the doors. So every external door has a kind of a sensor that opens the door. Before you get there, we do have security on the 2 gates, the front and the back. Very friendly. They'll just ask to see your lanyard. They'll know you, but within a month they'll know all of you. So we have security at the front and the back, lanyard to get in, which is why we do our students wear lanyards at all times. It just makes life easier. And I'd also say that our students look out for each other. And if they spot anything they don't think looks quite right, they'll talk to us.
We also have more than 80 CCTV cameras, so that allows us to kind of monitor what's going on around the college and keep an eye on things. We also have, we practice drills to ensure students are safe, so it really does feel like a safe place to be.
I agree, I think it does feel really safe and a really lovely community, actually.
Yeah.
Lovely, thank you. How are parents kept informed about student progress? This could go either way. Either of you can...
Well, generally, I say that there are newsletters, and Jan can talk about those. During their 2 years with us, students will sit for, we call them college assessment points, they're kind of mocks, so that, where we kind of go to different timetable and they sit in exam conditions. It's not scary, but it's there to kind of help prepare them for the real exams. So after each one of those, you'll get a data drop, and there'll be various data drops that you'll be warned about, well, you'll be informed about throughout the 2 years. So, and then associated with those will be parents' evenings. But I would say generally, you will have the tutor's email address, you have the SPA's email address, and we'd welcome your feedback.
Yeah, I would just say in terms of those data drops, you will be invited to join a parent portal. So we have an internal kind of MIS system called Focus, and that will record all of that kind of data and notes and target setting, as well as their kind of current progress. So that's kind of really key.
I'd say we are probably more school-like than perhaps one might expect from a college, post-16 college. If a student doesn't attend the lesson, we will email home. If a student doesn't complete a piece of work, we will email home. It's a supportive kind of mechanism, but we'll keep you in the loop, and we'll keep our expectations high. So I guess that does mark us, that does differentiate us against other colleges.
But I think alongside that, what we seem to do is if with those students, we have one-to-ones with them often as teaching staff. You know, we really do try and treat them like adults in terms of that. They will be very aware of what their progress is and how they can improve. And I think that alongside with the parental information really makes a huge difference.
Yes.
It's probably worth saying as well that if we do have concerns about progress, not only will we contact the parent, but we've got interventions that we can put in place. And I mentioned the student progress advisors earlier on. What's really key is that they understand why the student isn't progressing, so that we can we're not just simply target setting and punishing students, but we're finding ways to support them so they can thrive while they're with us.
Yeah, I think that goes back to saying that, trying to unlock what they want to do afterwards, isn't it? And we're trying to motivate them to be aspirational and
for some students it takes a little longer than others.
Yeah,
that's
it
fine.
Absolutely does. What happens if a student can't attend enrolment?
So we've got a couple of options. So we can do a kind of remote enrolment, so they can do it in absentia, which isn't a problem at all, as long as you inform us once you've been sent the invite to enrolment. Just inform us and we can do that with you. In order to do that enrolment without them being present, we do need to have a record of their GCSE results. So if they're away for a long period, they need to make sure that they've contacted the school, that they've sent a letter to the school to ask someone else to collect those results. Of course, a lot of schools have the results online, but some are still paper-based. So having the results, they can rearrange an enrolment appointment if the date doesn't work. So that's something else we could do and put them. We run enrolment across 4 different days, so there's a bit of flexibility there.
Thank you.
Stay in touch so we can make a plan if we know what's going on.
Absolutely, lovely. Thank you so much. I suppose if they did do it when they weren't there, would that be over the telephone or when?
Telephone is fine.
Yeah, we do it over the telephone.
We can do it telephone.
Whatever, okay.
But we would, I mean, undoubtedly it's a far more useful and meaningful process if they can come in and we can actually have a conversation.
There is no doubt.
It's very much about dialogue, isn't it? Ensuring that if they're not on the right courses at the beginning, that really can be an obstacle later on. So.
And I think, as you said, having the parent and the student there, it really makes a big difference, and it makes it much work a lot more effectively, I think, doesn't it? Thank you. Will you have the same half-term breaks as in secondary school?
You certainly for Hampshire. So sometimes it's not the same as maybe Surrey, but certainly we operate the same school holidays and term dates. Apart from the summer when we finish a week earlier. So for example, this year we're finishing on the 14th of July, the schools will be the 21st. But half terms, Christmas, Easter will be the same.
Lovely. Thank you very much. If students don't know what they want to do after college, how will you help them?
Go on.
I mean,
I'll chip in.
It's really important that we have that discussion in our first tutor session. So right at the beginning, students are recording. So we use Unifrog, which is a brilliant kind of platform for exploring different careers and finding out about opportunities. We've got I think a 6-person strong careers team, so both careers advisors but also work experience and employability specialists, and they are available right across the week for one-to-one appointments. They're constantly running kind of drop-in sessions, either for support with kind of careers or university applications, particularly in the autumn term, really busy. This time of year they run employability sessions, so students who are still not quite sure that they want to go to university but want to explore their kind of career opportunities, they can actually have a timetable session every week or for 4 to 6 weeks to support them.
Wonderful, thank you.
In their lessons, teachers will model careers. So all the departments will run like a careers in day. So performing arts will do one, they'll have all the conservatoires and drama schools in. So you're within your areas, you'll be modelled what different careers, university paths can look like. So, I mean, we are a bridge between where they are at the moment in leaving school to where they want to be in their adult lives. So some will, as I say, some will get there quite quickly, others will need lots of support, but we are set up to manage that.
Yeah, and I think we all understand that actually at 16 coming in, there's, it's great if you do know, but actually a lot of people will not know, and therefore just, that's not a problem. We will have great support.
Yeah, and you may change your mind 3 or 4 times, and
absolutely.
That will continue through the rest of your life.
Thank you. Is it possible to change courses after enrolment?
After enrolment, so we do have a window where you can change courses. We're really keen to get students on the right course right from the beginning, so it's not something we would encourage, because if you've been along to an open evening, you've spoken to students and staff, you've come along this week, you've had your introduction days and your taster days, you're ready to go, you know what you want to do, and then if you change your mind because of, I don't know, something that goes on in that first or second lesson, that doesn't always lead to success. So we're really keen to get them on the right course in the beginning, but if they're absolutely certain that they want to change, there is an opportunity kind of the 2nd, 3rd week in September. We have a short window where we do allow students to change courses, but they have to do that by negotiation, both with their teachers but also their student progress advisor.
I mean, it's important to just consider that it's a new environment. Sometimes they won't be in classes with friends they knew from school, so that may take a couple of lessons. Sometimes it's a new subject as well. There's going to be a few moments where there's bumps in the road. Sometimes it's harder than they might anticipate, but they're on that course for a reason. They've got the grades, we know that they're going to be successful. So that's why we wait till the 2nd or 3rd week, just to give it a chance to settle down a bit and then make an informed decision about what's the best way forward.
Lovely, thank you. So this is about the potential of a 4th subject. It says, can you do a 4th subject, but also could you drop one in January if you wanted to?
The first answer is you can take a 4th subject if that's in your interests. It's not recommended. In fact, it comes as a bit of a health warning. And what we do is we go through what a timetable looks like for a student on 4 subjects, and you'll find you have very little time within the college day to utilise study periods because they're taken up with lessons. So you put more pressure on yourself outside of college, which means you can't maybe get involved in other things you might want to. That said, some students do, a minority do. They tend to be further mathematicians because that dovetails quite nicely with maths and it utilises the same skills. But universities generally are expecting 3. Employers are expecting 3. They're far more interested actually in 3 strong grades at A level or in the vocational subjects, and then the other things you've done, which is why the Q Extra programme is so important, because it does provide those opportunities to go beyond your subjects, to demonstrate different skills and interests. That kind of well-rounded experience is what they really value. That said, if it's in your interest, you've done well at GCSE, we will certainly have the conversation. Once you've enrolled on a course, I would suggest you should presume you're on that for at least a year.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely agree. I mean, even Oxford and Cambridge, very keen to see all of that kind of enrichment, super curricular experience. What are you doing to show you're committed to that subject, rather than kind of broadening your A-level programme?
And you also want to make three excellent grades are better than a couple of excellent and a couple of not so strong because you overdid it.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you so much. So, not so much about the academics, but a very important part. What is the food like at college?
Well, we've had
Very
free
good,
samples all week,
I'd
so
say.
we're all delighted. No, so I think we actually invest a lot of time and money in the food. we know how important it is for students' enjoyment of the day and in terms of their health. So you'll find there is a range of things. There's the pick and go stuff, there's pizzas and all that stuff, but there's also a plated hot meal option, and there's a whole array of stuff there.
Roast dinner Thursday. There's a curry bar, noodle bar. There's always salads. There's always sandwiches. I mean, you won't go hungry, and you won't suffer for lack of choice. And we have lots of kind of cafes scattered around the campus as well. And I know the one that's close to me, everything in there is kind of fair trade, and lots of kind of vegetarian and vegan options as well.
And everything is served on and used, and the utensils are all recyclable.
Yeah.
And I always get the sense that the chefs here just really do take so much pride in their jobs and make really good food.
Yeah,
really good food.
And it's all done. We do it. We employ the chefs and the catering staff. We do it all ourselves in house.
Do you have links with businesses for apprenticeships?
We do. We have many links. We have each department will have links with different businesses and universities that they engage with throughout the courses. But generally, as a college, yes, we have a lot of local employers. There's no guarantee of apprenticeships, but certainly we can almost guarantee interviews. So yes, the answer is yes. I'd also want to be clear that at the moment, the number of appropriate level apprenticeships is quite limited. So we have some students gone to amazing things with IBM, with the various account at JP Morgan, and wonderful. But there's lots of apprenticeships out there that aren't actually relevant to our students. Once they've got the qualifications they'll get here. We are working on that, but there's only so many out there. But I think I'd anticipate that will grow every year.
Yeah, it is growing. In fact, only yesterday I had an email from an accountancy firm who were looking to promote their opportunities in apprenticeships. They would start with kind of a level 3 apprenticeship, and they move on to degree apprenticeships, all of it fully funded. They'll be on salaried while they're doing it, so yeah, lots of opportunities.
I think I think some students think, I don't want to go to university, I'll just do it. And actually, I think what they start to realise is it is quite competitive, isn't it? And actually, we put everything in place to really prepare them, but it is quite competitive.
I mean, it's definitely getting better.
Yeah.
But for about 10 years, about 4% of students were getting on to degree apprenticeships. That's starting to move upwards, and but many more wanted to go. There is limited availability. But we have lots of success stories, and we have excellent relationships with employers.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you. We've already said that Q Extras can be chosen at enrolment, but is there other times that students can choose Q Extras? Yeah,
it's a menu really, and generally Q Extra is optional. Students choose to do it, and 91% of our students choose to take at least one Q Extra. Now, some of them are year-long commitments, like the sports teams, or if you're in the college production. But some of them, like first aid or the driving theory, are 6-week courses. So often, at the start of every term, we'll ask students to review their Q Extra choices, and that's where they'll start removing some and adding others. And really, it's about how what we tend to find is students want to do 8 in September, and we have to help them just manage that and sort of plan it throughout the 2 years.
Lovely, thank you so much. What happens if you do not get expected grades at GCSE?
Okay, so the baseline is 5 GCSEs at grade 4 and above. Now, there will be courses where the entry requirement is higher, so you do need to check, and it's worth looking again on the website or in our prospectus what the individual entry requirements are for each course, and we can discuss that at enrolment. If you don't meet those 5 GCSE requirement, then unfortunately we're not able to offer a kind of a level 2 programme here, because we are a specialist level 3 and A-level provider. We would definitely support people with other options. And we can often look at it on a case-by-case basis, but generally we stick very closely to the entry requirements.
And they are, it is as written really. I mean, the entry requirements are there for a reason. That there's years of experience and data, to be honest, about which grades lead to success on which courses. So if you don't meet the entry requirements, it's not because we don't want you, it's because all the data is telling us you wouldn't be successful and therefore wouldn't be very happy on that course. And it's much better to kind of just have a rethink and get onto a course that will meet your needs.
Lovely, thank you. So in terms of independent work, how many hours of study are students expected to do?
Generally, as I said before, an hour for every hour in the college, you expect an hour at home or in the study areas. So for most students, that means 4.5 hours per week per subject. So now some subjects, there'll be moments in the year where that that increases. So if you're approaching an exam or it's coursework, that go up. But generally, you'll be looking at about 15 hours a week.
Lovely. Yeah, thank you. And I think actually that really does have an impact on success, doesn't it? I think you can see the students that get really top grades because it is the work that they're doing outside of the classroom. The lessons are so important, but actually that independent work really seals it, I think.
It's that combination of independent study but also really committing to attending all of their lessons.
Absolutely.
So students who go to every lesson are likely to achieve 2 grades higher than a student who attends, say, 80% of their lessons. So that's why we place so much importance on attendance.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So what support do we have for those students that are struggling with their mental health?
So I mentioned a bit earlier on our health and wellbeing team. So we've got a broad team, both the student progress advisors along with the counsellors, the nurses, the ELSAs and so on. So with counselling, students can self-refer and they will be offered a kind of a 6-week one-to-one programme. They can also come along to a drop-in, so they can do, if they're in crisis, for example, they come straight to our health and wellbeing department. We have a mental health first aider who works on the reception there and can manage students in the moment, so it's a safe place for students to come to. But we also have the kind of emotional literacy support assistant programme as well, which is much more of a kind of cognitive behavioural approach, less talk therapy, but lots of really practical strategies to build resilience.
Lovely. I think also knowing your teachers so well as well means that they are such a great support. We do try and know all our teachers, all our students so well that you really will feel that they will understand you and support you through your studies as well.
And we talk about it in tutor as well, don't we? So we talk about kind of resilience and how to cope with, not to catastrophise, how to cope with stress, which is a normal part of everyone's experience.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you. What opportunities to complete work experience is there at college?
Well, work experience is actually a requirement of being at college. So all students will be asked to complete 5 days of work experience. It'll depend on the course how that's structured. So if you're on a vocational course that's worth the equivalent of 2 or 3 A levels, that'll be part of your kind of term. So there'll be a week when all your class go on work experience, and that's managed through the course. Generally for A-level students, we ask parents, students to utilise networks and contacts to try and pull together some work experience related to their career plans. Because I think you'll find actually out there they've got amazing networks and amazing contacts. If that's not proven particularly fruitful, then we have a careers team that can then step in and help you as well. But undoubtedly, spending 5 days, usually between that transition between the first year and the second year, exploring some careers that you might be interested in, it really is insightful, and students come away far more informed about the kind of degrees or apprenticeships they want to pursue.
Lovely. Okay, thank you very much. I think there's also the element that by doing it, it's so fantastic for their applications for university or for those applications for apprenticeships, for example. So just trying to get that sort of committed to as soon as possible, because it does take a while, doesn't it? It's not like a week and then suddenly you're going to get work experience. It's definitely taking the time to do it.
And personal development.
Yes.
Absolutely.
They're here, they're young adults by the time they leave. They need to be prepared for the world out there.
And so it's, throughout their time, because we all work on generic employability skills like communication, teamwork, knowing how to have a conversation with an adult you've just met, adopting the right register. And collaboration. So they'll all be developed throughout their time at college, but also work experience is undoubtedly a great vehicle for that as well.
Lovely. I think we slightly sort of spoke about this at the beginning. This is about the difference between college and secondary school. But I think maybe it would be interesting to think about in terms of lessons how secondary school might be different to college.
I suppose, well, this does link back to the original point about independence and the importance of independent learning. So students often will be asked to complete pre-work. So often at school, you've been asked to do homework. So you have a lesson, then you're told the teacher will talk through a PowerPoint, give you some questions, and you finish the questions off as homework. What we'll do at college is you'll read the PowerPoint at home, and you'll kind of be asked to digest the content. And then in the lesson, the teacher will check your understanding and apply the learning. So it makes for hopefully a more entertaining and engaging lesson. And it means a teacher can check understanding and address any misconceptions. That then leads to better outcomes in the A-level exams. It also leads to much better results when you go on to university, if that's what you decide to do. So our data from the Higher Education Statistics Authority says that our students stay retained in university, they perform better at university and get more 1s and 2-1s than any other sector, the independent sector, the state sector, sixth form colleges. So our Barton Peveril students outperform their peers when they get to university, and I think that's in no small part due to the emphasis we place on independent work and supporting them in being able to develop those skills.
Lovely, thank you
okay?
so much. That's wonderful, it's perfect, thank you. It's quite a long question, this one, but I want to make sure that we get it answered effectively. So there's the summer work that's on Google Classroom. Does it have to be done? And if someone, say, is away all summer, will there be a problem if they, do they have to have it done by a certain date, or?
Well, firstly, lucky them being away all summer. That's
I know that would be very lovely. I would very much like that.
But brilliant.
Well, hopefully there's some Wi-Fi there somewhere. But I presume that yes, you should complete it. It's not going to be particularly arduous. It's not designed to trip you up. It really is designed to get you thinking about your subjects and make sure you hit the ground running when you join us in September. So yes, presume it is compulsory. If you have some extreme personal situation, which means there's no way you could get that done, then get in contact and let your teacher know before the lesson.
Yeah, lovely, thank you. How large is the campus, and what makes Barton Peveril different to other colleges? Good question.
You think I know? I mean, in terms of square feet, I couldn't tell you.
It's very large.
It's very large.
But in a really nice way.
It's large, but students will often arriving at crikey. It's large. It's not dissimilar to the transition they made when they went from primary to secondary. And for the first few days, you think, I'm going to get lost every day. That lasts about a day, and you soon realise it's very easy to navigate. So it is a large campus, but it's a well-designed campus, and it's designed for more students than we all have in it. And what makes it unique from other colleges? I think there is a unique atmosphere about the place. And there's lovely buildings, there's great results. We've invested over £35 million over the past 10 years in the campus. But that's not what makes the place. The place is the teaching and the students and the dynamic between the two. Everyone here is invested in the students succeeding in whatever shape that takes, whether it's their personal development, their academic success, their social kind of relationships. So there's a unique positive atmosphere to the place, and there's a purposefulness to it. When we walk guests around, they are astounded by how focused students are, but in a nice, relaxed kind of way. They're just getting on with it. They're happy to talk to you about what they're doing. We don't have behavioural problems, and we work hard on that culture. We never take it for granted, but it's just got a nice feel to it, and that's what students would say.
I would just add, as a relative newcomer, so a year in, what really strikes me is the high expectations. So the staff have very high expectations, but they have all that kind of support in place to ensure students meet those expectations, and that creates a culture that students also absorb. They have high expectations for themselves and their peers, and it means everybody rises up.
There's sort of productive buzz about the place, isn't there?
Definitely.
I think it really does feel like everyone has such a great purpose. Thank you.
And that we want happy students.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
that generally that's what we get.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you. What support do we have in place for neurodiverse students or those who are waiting for a diagnosis?
Okay, so in our learning support department, they would have responsibility for supporting those individuals, and they would do that either through individual workshops, support in class. So some of our students who are neurodiverse would have one-to-one, they'd have an LSA support, but they'd also have somewhere to go in their independent study time. So they would have a lunch room where they can come and join with other students. We have a neurodiversity club, for example, that students can join. We also have a staff group of neurodiverse staff. So it's something that we really celebrate actually and recognise, and our neurodiverse students do brilliantly well and go on to fantastic destinations.
Yeah, I think also in lessons, again we have very good communication with home and with the learning support department. So teachers really do get lots of information and therefore can sort of support those students in any way they need to.
All staff will receive training about how to best support students with neurodiverse, and we're always updating that training, and then we work individually with staff who we know will have those students in their lessons.
Lovely, thank you. Will you be answering the chat questions missed by a parent email, e.g. Time you're only answering around 1 in 5 chat questions? So I think this is, sorry, I was just trying to understand it. But obviously, in the time we have, it's quite difficult to answer everything. I suspect afterwards there'll be some sort of information going out if there's any specific questions that we haven't been able to answer today.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you'll be lucky enough to receive a recording of this, and in that email will be also email addresses if you want to talk to anyone specifically.
And of course you can always email inquiries at barton.ac.uk with any further inquiry, and we'll make sure that gets to the right person and a response comes back to you.
Absolutely.
But we'll go through the questions we've missed after this.
Absolutely, if there's anything that's really come up. Is there a dress code?
No. I would say come dressed to study, not to the beach. But generally no. In fact, students wear all kinds of things, but just be aware of it. Is what you're wearing likely to cause any offence? Is it appropriate for classroom work? But other than that, no. I mean, it's not. It's students come and that's one of the things about them finding their identity here and finding their tribe, and it's lovely to see.
I quite like it when they've relaxed into it a bit more, and then they kind of feel like they can wear their relaxed clothes not too relaxed, obviously not pyjamas, but they sort of feel like they can be comfortable here and happy.
As a parent, I know the major concern for my children before they went to taster days was what they were going to wear.
Yeah, of course.
So my son wore t-shirt and shorts.
Lovely, thank you. We're just waiting if there's another question coming through to make sure we get those ones that we did want to answer. I'm not sure exactly, sorry. Well, that's fine.
I think we've come to the end of our allotted time, actually.
Okay.
So I think what we'll do is any questions when we look through them that we haven't answered, we will get back to those people through email.
Lovely. And equally, if you do have any questions that you'd like to ask that you feel hasn't been asked, then you can email inquiries@barton.ac.uk, or there's also a link to it on the portal. So thank you all so much for joining us today, and thank you, Rob and Jan, for all of your time and all your insights. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.